Hello guys and welcome back to another Premier League predictions video. We return today with Game Week 35 as we close in on the end of the season. And we kick off with a 12:30 game on Saturday, which sees West Ham hosting Liverpool at the London Stadium. Quite a big game for both teams. Obviously, Liverpool have now lost back-to-back in the league against Crystal Palace and Everton. West Ham on a really poor run as well, and it seems as if Moyes is likely to leave at the end of the season. So he'll want to end on a high. Obviously, Liverpool still in the title race, but a couple of poor results have put them as third favourites, so both teams desperate for the win. I've gone for a 2-1 Liverpool victory. Then we've got quite a few 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, which kicking off game 2 sees Fulham host Crystal Palace. Fulham with a couple of poor results recently, Palace playing some very, very good stuff. So I've gone for the Eagles to win by 2-1. We've then got Manchester United hosting Burnley at 3 o'clock, and I've gone for United to win by 3-2. There's going to be goals in that game, I've got absolutely no doubt, but I do think that United will win it despite how terrible they are. We've then got Newcastle hosting Sheffield United, where I've gone for the Toon to win by 3-0. I was very, very close to putting this as my Joker game for this week, but I've opted for something different, which you'll see at the end of this section. And then finally on Saturday, we've got Wolves hosting Luton at 3 o'clock, where I've just gone for Wolves to nick it by 2-1. Very close to going for a 1-1 draw, but Luton haven't really been picking up the results recently. So I've gone for Wolves to win by 2-1. We've then got a 5:30 kickoff on Saturday and an 8 o'clock game. So kicking off with the 5:30, potentially a big one down the bottom between Everton and Brentford. However, I think both teams have kind of pulled themselves away from that relegation scrap with a couple of big wins. Everton beating Liverpool, Brentford have won their last couple as well. So it looks as if it's going to be the Blades, Burnley, and one of Luton or Nottingham Forest. So it's not nailed on, but I think Everton and Brentford are pretty safe. But with Everton's good run of form, I've gone for them to win again, at this time by 2-1. And then, as I say, we've got a late kickoff on Saturday as well at 8 o'clock, which sees my boys at Chelsea travelling to Villa Park. Villa on a very, very good run of form. And although Chelsea won there in the FA Cup earlier on in the season, I've gone for Emery's side to win it by 3-1. I have very little faith in Chelsea at the moment. Then heading into Sunday's games, we've got some big fixtures. Bournemouth-Brighton, potentially a big one in the race for European football, although I don't think either team are quite going to make it. Bournemouth have been on a really good run. Brighton, on the other hand, on a pretty poor run. They got absolutely smashed by City at home on Thursday night, and I've gone for them to lose once again with the Cherries winning by 2-1. And then to close out the fixture, 2 massive games. North London derby, of course, also at 2 o'clock. Although Spurs have still got quite a bit to play for in hunting down a Champions League football, I don't think they're going to make it with the run-in they've got. Whereas for Arsenal, they know they need to win every single game and hope that City slip up. And I have predicted them to win here as well with a 2-1 victory over their rivals. And then, of course, after that, the pressure turns to Man City, who travel away to the City ground. Lots of controversy around Nottingham Forest at the moment, but I just don't see City slipping up. They're so good at this stage of the season. They're obviously out of the Champions League now, so their main focus between now and the FA Cup final is just the league. So I've gone for them to win by 3-0, and I've been sticking with my Manchester City Jokers, and I've selected them again as my Joker this week. So then, heading over to the league website, as you can see, still very, very tight at the top, and I seem to say that every single week. My dad and myself currently joint on 284 points, just 1 point ahead of Mystery, who's obviously been leading the way most of the season. So it's very, very tight, and I think it's going to go down to the wire between myself and my dad with just a couple of game weeks left to play. After a good previous fixture, I actually did pretty bad in 34. It was obviously a bigger fixture with 13 games. I only picked up the 6 points, which technically was the lowest, as the guy at the bottom forgot to put his predictions in this week. So yeah, just the 6 points. It wasn't a particularly high scoring fixture, but everyone else scored more than me, with my dad finishing up with 10, closing the gap that I'd built up the previous week. And the main reason for that is because we didn't pick up any 3-pointers at all during this fixture. Out of 13 games, that's pretty bad, but yeah, disappointed not to pick any up. We had a couple of 1-pointers early on in the fixture, and it looked like it was going to be an okay start, but then we completely fell off. We did have Manchester City as our joker, which picked us up 2 points, but at this stage of the season, a 6-point joker would be massive. My dad had Aston Villa, Bournemouth 3-1. I had 2-1. That was the massive swing this week, because if it had stayed at 2-1, it would have been an extra 2 points to myself. Aston Villa got the third, and that gave my dad the extra 2 points. So yeah, really tight at the moment, and it is very fine margins in the rest of the fixtures. But guys, that is where we will leave it for this week. As I say, just a couple of fixtures left, so it is going to go down to the wire. Make sure to keep up to date with the series to see who it is that finishes on top spot, and I'll catch you for the next episode very soon. Peace.